In the quiet halls of global infrastructure, one name echoes louder than any other: Huawei, a company that built the spine of the modern world yet remains an enigma to the West. From 5G dominance to smartphone supremacy, their rise was meteoric, but with power came a target. Today, we perform a forensic autopsy of a global tech giant. Is Huawei a victim of geopolitical crossfire or a titan that outgrew the rules of the game? This is Spotlight Business Report. I'm Richard Anton. Our story begins in 1987 in a modest apartment in Shenzhen. Ren Zhengfei, a former military engineer, starts Huawei with just $5,000. They started as simple sales agents for telephone switches, but Ren had a vision of self-sufficiency. By 1990, they were building their own technology. In 1993, the CNC08 switch changed everything. It was the largest in China, allowing Huawei to conquer the rural markets international giants ignored. To go global, they needed a global structure. Huawei hired IBM to overhaul their management. It was the transformation that built a corporate juggernaut. In 1998, Ren Zhengfei made a radical choice. He hired IBM to teach Huawei how to be a company. It cost a fortune, but it turned a chaotic Shenzhen startup into a structured global machine modeled after the very giants it would eventually challenge. By the 2000s, Huawei was everywhere. They implemented 70% of Africa's 4G networks, connecting over 170 million people in rural areas. While the world focuses on the trade war, Huawei's real power is being built where Western companies fear to tread. In the rural heartlands of the global South, they aren't just a provider, they are the backbone of society. In 2012, the unthinkable happened. Huawei surpassed Ericsson to become the largest telecommunications equipment manufacturer on Earth. Then came the consumer revolution. Their smartphones conquered the world, driving revenue past $100 billion for the first time in 2018. But the real battlefield wasn't in our pockets, it was in the air, the race for 5G, and Huawei was winning by a landslide. Look at the data. With over 11,000 5G patent families, Huawei outpaced Qualcomm, Samsung, and Ericsson combined. They owned the future. This dominance wasn't an accident. They reinvested 20% of their revenue back into R&D. Over half of their workforce is dedicated to innovation. But as Huawei's infrastructure spread, Western alarms grew. Questions of employee ownership and state influence became a geopolitical firestorm. Huawei claims to be 100% employee owned. No state shareholders, no venture capital. To the West, it's a black box. To Huawei, it's the secret to their long-term survival and collective incentive. May 16, 2019, the day the world changed for Huawei. The US Department of Commerce placed them on the entity list, cutting off the oxygen of tech. No Google services, no high-end chips. Revenue plummeted by over 30%. Many analysts said Huawei was essentially dead in the global market. The struggle became personal with the arrest of CFO Meng Wanzhou, a 3-year legal battle that came to symbolize the deep divide between global powers. The Huawei story is no longer just about tech. It is the front line of the new Cold War, a company caught between two worlds, forced to evolve or vanish. So far, they have chosen evolution. But Huawei didn't collapse. They pivoted. In an unsettlingly efficient shift, they focused on sectors where Western chips weren't the only answer. They built Harmony OS. Now on 900 million devices, it's a domestic powerhouse, breaking the Android-Apple duopoly in the world's largest market. Then they moved into the garage. Huawei is now the brain for a new generation of smart vehicles, partnering with 14 major automakers. By building their own ecosystem from the ground up, they've created a technological fortress. Harmony OS isn't just an alternative, it's a declaration of independence from the global silicon supply chain. The results are staggering. Their automotive alliance is capturing 70% of deliveries in its class, a tech giant reborn as an industrial titan. By 2024, the recovery was complete. Revenue surged back to over $118 billion. Huawei is no longer just surviving. it's thriving. Beyond smartphones, they've gone deep underground, literally. Huawei's AI now runs smart mines and energy grids, industries where high-end consumer chips aren't the primary bottleneck. They've made themselves indispensable to the industrial world. The Huawei Hegemony is far from over. From rural Africa to the streets of Shenzhen, their presence is woven into the very fabric of the future. A forensic look at Huawei shows a company that thrives on challenges. The question remains, what will they build next? I'm Richard Anton.